was also still a rise. Looking back still last Friday, on Friday we had over 119,111 shares that were traded, and they closed at a price of 180, which was still a daily gain of about 0.65%, and that is about 1.16 Ugandan shillings. And then the day before, still on the 7th of July, we are seeing they traded a volume of over 130 shares, that's 134,239 shares, and still we are seeing that they gain 0.82%. And then down to this price, of course, on the day before, that was 6th of July, that is, they also ended as gainers on a 7.39 Ugandan shillings gain to a price of 177.39, and that was still a 4.35%. Literally what we are talking about here is a counter that has gained about 5 consecutive days. Looking at Friday, looking at Thursday last week, looking at Wednesday, and then looking at Monday, yes, this week, and then Tuesday. It has been gaining. It has been on a gaining. So it's a quite valuable stock. And I think Ugandans should actually open their eyes and maybe look into investing in MTN here, because this is exactly what attractive stocks look like. They must have activity. You're either going down or you're going up. Stagnant is not a good position, because that means there's no value addition to the shareholders. But in this case, as we can see, MTN has proved actually that it has done some work when it comes to the stock markets here on its counter, and definitely we will see more as the week winds up. Now, at the end of the day's trading session, total of, as I already said, 2.1 million shares that were traded, corresponding to their market value. Now, the market value of these shares, that is the 2.1 million that was traded yesterday, was actually 400,4,891. So meaning just in one single day, MTN had a transaction of over 400 million shillings on its shares in the company. And definitely this is quite something to look out for. And then compared with the previous US e-trading day, that was Monday, the data shows a 70%. Now we're looking at the improvement from the 11th to the 12th of July. We're seeing a 70% improvement in it's actually 708% improvement in turnover, in volume, and a 930% improvement in turnover. And the capitalization of this is about 21.9 trillion. Now, this was just the general stock. That was, of course, not the MTN counter. But when we look at the MTN counter here on the market, just of yesterday, we are seeing that MTN closed at a price of 189.7 Ugandan shillings per share on the USE, recording a 2.6% gain over its previous closing price. That was about 184.92. And MTN began the year with a share price of 194.99 Ugandan, but 2.71% off that price valuation, ranking it on the Uganda Security Exchange in terms of year to date. It's in number 6 position. MTN Uganda is the 4th most valuable stock, as already mentioned. In terms of the value of the stock, it is number 4, and that is on the Uganda Security Exchange. Over the past, MTN Uganda has also traded a volume of 12.2 million, valued at 2.26 billion the shillings over the same period. Now, over the period of 3 months, we are seeing about 12.2 million shares that have been traded, and these are valued at 2.26 billion Ugandan shillings, with an average of 193,139 traded shares per session. Now, a 12th for the same, of course, a volume of high of about 2.11 was achieved on July 12th. That was yesterday, within these 3 months. And of course, these are the figures we are looking at. The MTN achieved its highest traded volume in the last 3 months. That was of 2.11 million shares that was traded. MTN Uganda Limited was founded on October the 21st, 1998, and operates in the telecommunications sector, specifically the telecommunications industry. And MTN attracts an estimated 1,000 employees or so, and the kind of performance. MTN Group, by the way, is not just in Uganda. They have several subsidiaries around Africa and Asia, and some of their subsidiaries, we can find them in 22 countries in Africa, and we can also say in the Middle East as well. The MTN is listed also on other exchanges. We can see MTN on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. We can also see MTN on the Ghana Stock Exchange, and we can see MTN on the Nigerian Stock Exchange as well. As of June 30th, 2017, MTN recorded about 232 million subscribers, and we are saying that these subscribers are of course across its operations in Afghanistan, Benin, Botswana, Cameroon, Ivory Coast, Cyprus, Ghana, Guinea-Bissau, countries like Congo, Brazzaville, countries like Rwanda, South Africa, Sudan, South Sudan, Swaziland, Syria, Yemen, Zambia, and of course now Uganda. That's where the MTN group operates. And so regarding the performance, MTN currently is one of the most valuable stocks on the USE. And in terms of the year to date, like we've said, since the year began, in the last 3 months, we are seeing it on the 4th position in terms of the highest performing counters. And its current market capitalization is 4.25 trillion Ugandan shillings, which makes it about 19.4% of the entire Uganda Security Exchange. And in terms of that particular market capitalization, it ranks number 2, just behind Wumeme, and definitely with a 4.25 trillion market capitalization, ranking number 2 in terms of turnover or market capitalization value on the Uganda Security Exchange. We've had enough of MTN, so this is it for MTN, of course, providing quite a number of opportunities. The window right now is open, the trading window. You can visit the website of Uganda Security Exchange, www.useeasyportal.com, and then you can be able to open an SCD account and buy yourself some stock in MTN. As you can see, it's quite a promising company with this kind of growth. It's quite something that you can look forward to really as a seasonal investor, if you may say. So this is the MTN Uganda. Definitely, we hope to see more of that later on the program. Now we move on to another very interesting stock here on the Uganda Security Exchange, which is the Wumeme. Counter came out yesterday, coming out at the bottom, of course, with a loss of about 2.17% in terms of value for the stock to 125 Ugandan shillings. If you remember yesterday at the beginning of the market, Wumeme was trading at about 239 or so, and it ended with a loss of 2.17% to trade at 225. Definitely, many people may ask how these stocks usually, change. Well, stocks work like commodities. Yeah, they work like commodities. They work like any other good. They are just, not tangible, right? But at least they are, of course, liable to forces of demand and supply. And so that is how the price fluctuations come about. Entirely, it's about how much demand is placed on a certain stock and how much supply is on the market that we see these prices fluctuating here and there. Entirely, that's what it's based on. Nothing else, nothing more, nothing less. And now looking at the Wumeme counter, now let's have a look at this performance over the last couple of days. Now, Wumeme traded a volume of 400 shares, as you can see, and they lost about 5 shillings to about a price of 225. And we are saying that there was a change of 2.17%. Now, the day before, that was the 7th, actually, when we don't look at the day before, we may go back all the way back to 7th, because the day before, actually, Wumeme was trading at 239, close to 240. But we go back maybe a few days ago, that is on 7th of July. Now on 7th of July, we are seeing that the company was trading at 230 Ugandan shillings, and it traded a stock of about 5,376 shares. But then the day before still, it traded about 17,700 and lost still some value of 7.81. That was about 3.28%. Now we also had on the day before at 7,000, there was a little loss in value of about 1.2 by about 0.5%. So contrary to MTN's performance, the stock for Umeme has been declining for the days, and definitely we can see that on based on the figures that we have on the current stocks. Now, looking at the traded volumes just of yesterday, they were about 400 shares, and the gross turnover from those shares was about 90,000 Ugandan shillings. Outstanding are 1.62 billion shares that are valued at a market capitalization of 365 Ugandan shillings, 65 billion Ugandan shillings. As you can see, Umeme was the very first incorporated in Uganda, private limited company on the May the 6th, that is 2004, and later converted into a public limited company on the 28th of June 2012, so listed for over the last 10 years under the Companies Act. Now, Umeme is a subsidiary of Umeme Holdings, which is itself a subsidiary of the Actis Infrastructure, which is an investment fund under the, of course, the management of Actis through a holding company in Mauritius. And of course, Actis Infrastructure, Umeme Limited, is now the company we look at as Umeme Limited. Now, Umeme took over the distribution system for the distribution of and supply of electricity from the Uganda Electricity Distribution Company, that is UEDCL, in the year 2005 under the concession for a period of 20 years, commencing that very year of 2005 in the month of March. Umeme Limited is listed on the USE and has been listed since the 30th of November 2012. After going public in June, it decided to list on the 13th or 30th of November 2012. That was, of course, back then, about 10 years ago, when Umeme got listed on the exchange. Umeme, of course, trades under the trade name UMEM, as you can see there. That is the trading name on the Uganda Security Exchange. The International Securities Identification Number of Umeme is actually UG00001145, and Umeme currently is the 10th most valuable stock on the Uganda Security Exchange, with the market capitalization of over 365 billion Ugandan shillings, which makes about 1.67% of the Uganda Security Exchange equity. So it comes in 10th place in terms of the most valuable stocks, and it's one of the companies to look out for if you're at all you're investing in the stock markets there. And then definitely we're looking at the performance of yesterday's market. Umeme closed last trading day on Tuesday with a price of 225 per share on the Uganda Security Exchange, recording a 2.2% drop from the previous closing price. That was about 230, that is Ugandan shillings. And Umeme began the year with a price of about 189 Ugandan shillings and has since gained about 19.1% on that price valuation.